Breakups. Each of us processes them differently, but they do have a very common underlying theme. From shock, denial, anger, blame, trying to reconcile with things, the depression, and finally the conclusion of, oh, I'm okay. Many of us have an innate need for emotional connections, which entertains the idea of attachment theory. And when this is disruptive, it can almost evoke a primal instinct of sadness. You might have a loss of identity, go through a literal grieving process. For those of us with certain traumas, it can cut deeply because of past emotional wounds. It could reactivate these core beliefs that you have, such as you can't trust people, I am unworthy of a relationship. Today we will be talking about the stages of a breakup, and I'm curious if any of you can relate to this. Experiencing the full weight of a breakup in one moment can be incredibly distressing for the brain, so it tries to avoid this. Denial acts as a temporary shield, allowing us to gradually process and come to terms with the reality of the situation at a pace that feels more manageable. This is a defense mechanism that temporarily buffers us from the overwhelming emotions of grief and loss. Some people can go through this phase within a few days, a few weeks, or even months. Your brain might instinctively resist fully comprehending the reality of the situation. This protective mechanism allows you to gradually accumulate to the emotional turmoil at your own pace, shielding you from feeling overwhelmed by intense feelings of grief and loss. You might experience a sense of numbness or detachment. Emotions might feel dulled or muted, and you might describe a feeling as though you are in a fog or disconnected from reality. While some may experience an immediate surge of emotions, others might find that their emotional response is delayed until the shock begins to wear off. This is an emotional buffer against the overwhelming flood of emotions associated with the breakup. After the initial shock, some hurt or anger can resurface. This is another defense mechanism from shielding you from feeling this vulnerability and pain. You might start to remember all the times that you were wronged or mistreated by your partner. It doesn't matter if you broke up with them or they broke up with you, you might still feel this anger because of a loss of control. Because of this pain, your brain is perceiving it as a threat or loss of a significant relationship. The resentment can stem from feelings of hurt, betrayal, and disappointment arising after the breakup. There's a chance you might feel deeply wounded by some of your ex-partner's actions or the circumstances leading to the end of the relationship. This sense of betrayal can fuel a profound sense of injustice. You might also feel like your self-worth and ego are being threatened. The breakup might challenge your sense of identity, leaving you feeling vulnerable and insecure. By directing your anger outward, it might be an attempt to preserve your self-esteem and assert your worth in the face of a perceived rejection or abandonment. It can sometimes be a good thing to provide an outlet for the intense emotional energy generated by the breakup. These emotions offer a cathartic release, allowing you to express and discharge pent-up frustration, pain, and disappointment. This can provide a temporary relief from the emotional burden. Some people might even be fueled by a desire for justice or revenge. You might harbor fantasies of retaliation or seek validation through vindictive behavior, such as spreading rumors or seeking to damage the ex-partner's reputation. This can give you a temporary sense of empowerment, but might ultimately prolong the cycle of conflict and resentment. But for some people, resentment plays a crucial role in the healing process. These emotions signify a shift from the initial shock and denial and move towards a more active engagement with the reality of the breakup, which is a stepping stone to begin to move on towards acceptance, forgiveness, and ultimately healing. Bargaining can take place within a few days after the breakup to months to years. Typically, the bargaining stage occurs after the initial shock and denial have begun to subside, but this is before the full acceptance of the breakup has been reached. This bargaining might come from trying to seek closure to wanting to get back together with them, and it's very important in this time to respect boundaries and accept what cannot be changed. You might be thinking, what went wrong? Can it be salvaged? What happened within our relationship? If both parties are interested, closure can be helpful for moving on from the relationship. But if you are trying to get back together with this person, maybe you will get back together, but also it's you have to think, am I in emotion mind right now? Am I just remembering all of the good parts? Why did we break up in the first place? You might plead for another chance even though you know it's pretty unlikely and maybe deep down you know it's not even healthy. It's important to acknowledge the reality of the breakup rather than any fantasies or perfect moments that you can remember. Some people might not be able or be interested in having this closure, but finding the closure within yourself is important. You don't need independent or external validation or resolution from your ex-partner. Finding closure within yourself allows you to reclaim your power and autonomy in shaping your own future. By accepting the reality of the breakup, you create space for personal growth and resilience. You can channel your energy towards self-discovery, self-care, and building a fulfilling life that aligns with your values and aspirations. Stage 4, depression and sadness. This can go differently for every single person. I mean, if you dated for a month and you decided, hey, it's not it, you might go through a minute of the depression. If the breakup was accompanied by significant loss or trauma, it can take months or even years. It's okay to mourn the loss of your relationship and the future that you were planning that is no longer going to happen. It's okay to cry, journal, or engage in creative activities as a way of processing your emotions. During this time, you should avoid judging or suppressing your feelings, as this can actually prolong the process. Instead, practicing self-compassion and being hey, many people have felt the same way. I mean, breakup songs are one of the most common type of songs. You might find yourself falling into a depression. You are overwhelmed by these emotions. Individuals might experience depression during a breakup and feel overwhelmed by profound sadness and frequently finding themselves crying or getting tearful. The loss of the relationship and associated emotions of grief can feel all-consuming and pervasive. You might fall into hopelessness and despair, feeling like I will never be happy again. You might lose interest or pleasure, not even be interested in things you usually are. The world might seem dull and colorless, devoid of the happiness and excitement that it once held. You might feel fatigue and low energy. Some people will sleep more, some people will sleep less. You might find it harder to get out of bed in the morning. Even simple tasks might feel overwhelming and draining. During this time, your appetite might change. Some people might start eating more due to all of the emotions, while other people might lose their appetite completely. Stage 5, acceptance and moving on. The gradual acceptance of a breakup marks a huge milestone. You might come to terms with the fact the relationship ended and I'm okay and I'm ready to move on with my life. Acceptance doesn't mean you have to be okay with everything that happened right away. It's all about acknowledging your feelings of sadness, anger, and loss while recognizing that the relationship is over, allowing yourself to mourn the loss of the relationship and the future that you envision. You might start to stop idealizing the relationship and be like, okay, it actually makes sense why this happened. You might have more time to nurture your own well-being, engaging in different hobbies that maybe you didn't have time for in the past. You can take time to reflect on the lessons that this relationship and breakup has taught you. You might consider how the relationship has shaped you as a person and what you can carry forward into future relationships. From initial shock to denial, going through a breakup with someone specifically that you love can feel impossible at times. Navigating the stages of breakups are deeply personal and different for each person. Each stage offers opportunities for growth, healing, and self-discovery. Healing does take a lot of time and patience. A lot of people think oh my gosh, you're so dramatic, just get over it. But the reality is that breakups are different for every single person. Reach out for support when you need it. Stay open to the possibilities that lie ahead and trust in your ability to emerge from this experience strong stronger, wiser, and more empowered than before. Thank you so much for joining me in our exploration of the psychology of breakups. If you have recently gone through a breakup, I truly do hope that you find peace and know that you are not alone. I'm curious whether you guys can relate to these stages of the breakup. It's actually insane to me when I learned about these because I'm like, oh, yep, check that box, check that box. Although you might not go through them all like one by one, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You might go to 1, 2, and then back to 1, and then to 3, and then to 4, and then to 1. Like, I don't know. Or have you never experienced these stages? I would be very interested to learn about that. Like, I can't relate to this at all, Michelle. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and comment below. Thank you so much. It helps with the algorithm. Consider becoming a member. It starts at 99 cents. And thank you so much to each and every one of my members for supporting my efforts on this channel. To everyone, have peace and tranquility. Have a good day, night, whatever come on. Have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.